Welcome, noble ones. Let's start off this video. We'll be talking today, summarizing Matthew 14 till 15, because I think 16 is just too much. I low-key just want to have a better storytelling, and I don't want to feel like I'm just like throwing stuff at you guys every day, and like opening a full like hydrant on you guys, and like opening the hose and like, you know, going full blast on you guys. I want like a steady stream in which you guys can like understand better and not go so like, you know, I feel like I was giving you guys way too much information and I want to slow down. So let's start. 14 starts by John the Baptist. He's been in prison. He was telling Herod that he was in the wrong for marrying his brother's wife, Herodias, and that it was unlawful. Because he said that, because John the Baptist said that, Herod got mad and he put him in prison. But then one day, the daughter of Herodias, her birthday came, and she danced really well, and Herod was like, hey, anything you say, I'll make it happen. That's an oath I put on me. Her mom prompted her to say, give me John the Baptist's head on a platter. And because there's so many people witnessing this, he was like, okay, let's go kill John the Baptist. Even though beforehand he didn't want to kill him because people believed John to be a prophet. And he didn't want them to get mad and start like going crazy in the streets. But because of that, because his daughter, it was a promise, and so many people like witnessed the promise, he couldn't say no. And because of that, John the Baptist died. And when this happened, John the Baptist's disciples went and told Jesus. And when Jesus heard this, he took himself out from wherever he was going, and then he went to like a quiet place, a desolate place. And then when he was there, a lot of people from the crowd, they're like, oh, that's Jesus. They found him. And then they all started gathering to him, and they wanted to listen to him. And his disciples came to Jesus, and they're like, Jesus, we should send these people to go back in the villages so they can get some food. So then they're not starving out here and just listening to you but not eating. But Jesus was like, no, don't send them away. What food do we have? And they're like, we only have 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And when Jesus heard this, he was like, okay. He ordered the whole crowds, all the crowds, to sit down. And then he went and blessed the food, taking the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and took them and looked up to heaven and said a blessing. Then he broke the loaves and gave them out to his disciples. And in that process, all the people, the crowds, were fed. And it says those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. That's like saying without counting the women and the kids. So I think it was about 10,000. And they said they had 12 baskets that were of leftover food. And then after this happened, Jesus and his disciples went on a boat and went to the other side. And then after this, Jesus went up to the mountain, and then he started to pray. And while he was praying, because he went to the other side of the boat and left his disciples on the boat, and he went himself to the mountain and prayed. It says here that the winds were beating the boat, and so the boat moved away from where Jesus was at. And it says, and in the 4th watch of the night, he came to them walking on the sea. So Jesus he came and walked to them on water. That's where you see so many like people saying Jesus walked on water. And here says the 4th watch. And my study Bible here tells me that like The Roman military divided the night into 4 watches of 3 hours each, from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. The 4th watch would have been between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. So the disciples had battled the storm for more than 9 hours. So Loki, they were on watch 9 hours. And then Jesus came walking on water, and they're like, yo, it ain't no way, that's a ghost. And then Jesus was like, no, don't be afraid, take heart. And then Peter was like, hey, if you're really Jesus, have me walk on water too, to you. And then when he heard that, he was like, okay, come on. So Peter got out of the boat, and then he started walking on water. And then once a little wind started hitting him, he started getting cold. He started getting afraid. And then because he started getting afraid and losing his trust in Jesus, he started sinking. And immediately after that, he cried out, Jesus, Lord, help. Lord, save me. And Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took him and said, you, O of little faith, why do you doubt? And then they went into the boat, and then the weather was calm again. And they're like, yo, you really are the Son of God. And after that, they went to the land of the Gennesaret. And then when he was there, people recognized him, so they brought all his sick. And because so many people believed in the clothes, once like they got it touched them, they're made well. Then the Pharisees and the scribes, the people who, you know what I mean, the big bucks who know the word like the back of their hand, and they came to Jesus saying, why do your people break the tradition of the elders? For they don't wash your hands when they eat. But then Jesus is like, why do you break the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition? Why do you put your tradition above God's commandments? And this is something the Catholic Church does. That's why, you know what I mean, what's up, Catholic Church. And it says here, honor your mother and father, and whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. But then they say, if anyone tells his father or his mother, what you would have gained from me is given to God, he has not honored his father. And Jesus is like, so for the sake of your tradition, you have made void the word of God. You hypocrites. And then he goes and uses the scriptures at them and says, Isaiah said this people honors with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of man. Once they heard this, they're like, all right, bro, let's leave Jesus alone. After that, Jesus called the people to him and said, hear and understand, it is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but what comes out of the mouth. This defiles a person. And then once the Pharisees heard this, then they got offended and they left. And Peter was still confused, so he asked Jesus, can you explain this to me? And Jesus was like, and then Jesus explained, do you not see that whatever goes into the mouth passes into the stomach and is expelled? But what comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, and this defiles a person. From out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false witness, slander, and these are what defiles a person. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile anyone. And after Peter heard that, he was like, yes. That's some good words. After that, Jesus went, and then he went to Tyre and Sidon, and there a Canaanite woman went and saw him. He's like, Jesus, please, my daughter, she's severely oppressed by a demon. Jesus tested her, and then, but what he did is that he didn't answer her, and he just ignored her. But then she kept on bothering his disciples. The disciples were like, Jesus, come. You send her away. She's crying and coming after us. And Jesus hits her with, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He's saying, like, he was sent to the Israelites, God's chosen people. And since she was a Canaanite woman, she was considered a Gentile. She's not God's people. But she was like, Lord, help me. And then Jesus hit her with, it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. The children in this case are the Israelites. And the dogs are the Gentiles. That's what Jesus is trying to say. But then she's like, yes, Lord. Not even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall. Wait, let me start again. Yes, Lord. Yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Meaning the crumbs in this case are blessings. I looked into blessings, and like, because God's people were sent here to be like the blessing to the whole nations, every nation. So she's hitting Jesus with the word and saying this. And because she said this, is like, Jesus says, "Oh women, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And then instantly her daughter was healed. After that, Jesus kept walking in Galilee, and he went to a mountain. And when he was there, a big crowd came to him. And after that, he started preaching and healing the sick, the lame, the blind, and they started they glorified God. And they were there for 3 days. So Jesus again was like, I want these people to be fed. What food do we have? And the disciples were like, we only have 7 loaves and a few small fish. And so Jesus took those, and so then Jesus had the whole crowd sit down. He took the food and gave thanks. And then after that, he passed it to his disciples, and then his disciples distributed it to the people, the crowds. And it says there, 4,000 men, and those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. Then after that, he left the crowd, and he got in a boat and went to Magadan. That's when 16 starts. And I don't want to talk about 16. So yeah, this will be it. Thank you guys. Next week will be 16. I don't want to do too much, so it'll be 16 and 17. But if I really feeling it, we'll go to 18. So yeah, that's the word, guys. Oh wait, let me do my outro. Peace be unto you, noble ones.